Welcome to A Few Thoughts About, the show where we dig into thinking and how it shapes our experience of life. Each week, I share insights and observations to get you thinking. No long lectures, just quick, thought-provoking episodes to shift perspectives so that you can make the change you want to make. Let's get into it. Hey, before we get started, I want to invite you to join me and my good friends Sam and Ellie for some free coaching calls. So we have been having such a great time in our membership and the stuff that we've done in the Live, Present, and Sober group, and we want to share that with people. We are hosting a completely free coaching call. A totally free call where you can join us. Sometimes it'll be all three of us. Sometimes it'll just be one of us. Sometimes it'll be two of us. You never know what you're going to get, but you will absolutely get a fantastic opportunity to ask questions, to get coached, and to be part of a conversation. So if you have been curious, if you've been like, man, I really wonder what those three weirdos are doing on their calls, I want to invite you to join us. There is a link in the show notes where you can go and get signed up. These calls happen once a month. We're rotating times, we're rotating days. So if you go sign up, you will get emails that will tell you when the calls are going to be and how you can join. So please come join Sam and Ellie and I for free Live, Present, and Sober coaching calls. They are going to be awesome. That is it for me. Let's start the show. Well, hello there, and welcome to A Few Thoughts About Pulling Out the Dam. What the hell am I talking about? That's a great question. And I realize that, like, you know, in the podcast world, like, you're supposed to put a title out there that's very descriptive, that gets people's attention. This one's just confusing. Like, what do you mean? And no, I do not mean a nature conservation, getting rid of fish ladders in, you know, rural parts of Maine, which is something that's happening here. What I'm talking about is letting go of the focus of the things that hurt. And so let me explain. So a lot of you who have worked with me know that one of the ways I like to talk about thought is I like to talk about it like a river, like this river that constantly flows through us. This river is always moving. And so as you go throughout your day, thoughts are coming into your head and going out of your head. And it started from the moment you woke up, and it will continue until the moment that you go to bed. And sometimes those thoughts are fine. You know, they're normal. You know, maybe you're driving to work and you're thinking about, like, oh man, should I go this way or that way? I know there's construction on Washington Avenue. Should I take Summit instead? Right? You're going to be thinking that stuff. Other times, some of the thoughts that are going to pop into your head are hurtful, right? Where you start to think, man, I can't keep going. I can't do this change. Or when am I ever going to make that happen? Or when is this promotion going to happen? Or whatever it might be. So these thoughts are kind of popping in and out of your head. They flow through your mind all day. And by and large, we're not really in charge of what pops into our head. Like, that just seems to happen randomly. Well, more on that potentially on a future episode. So it is like a river that's flowing through our mind. Right? Now, of course, if a thought pops into our head that causes an intense emotion, well, we can direct our thinking, right? So let's imagine that you're driving to work and you suddenly start thinking, something negative about yourself. No one at work likes me. And so you start thinking about this, and then you dam up the river. And what I mean by this is the usual flow of thought. If you hadn't dammed up the river, that thought would be there. Maybe a few more thoughts would be like it. But if you just let it go, other thoughts would take its place over time. But that's not what we do, because we think a thought and then we feel an emotion, and that emotion makes us think there's a problem to solve, right? So you're driving to work and you're thinking, man, No one at work likes me. That causes an emotion. And your brain goes, oh, that's an emotion. That's a negative emotion. We got to fix it. There's a problem here. And so, boom, you dam up the river. And then you start focusing on that thought. And you start thinking, okay, like, is there evidence? Like, do people like me? Do not people not like me? And, what tends to happen with our brains is when we sort of set out a thesis, our brains try to prove it, right? And so all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you know what? In that last meeting, like Steve kind of cut me off. And, I also realized the other day that Sheila went out to lunch with someone and they didn't invite me. And yeah, at the Christmas party this year, I kind of felt and on and on and on. So we have the emotion and then our brain sets to work on what to do. Now, what this ends up meaning is we stop that river, right? We stop the river of thought. And so new thought can't come in. Now, in the case of a problem like this, is it possible that like maybe someone at work doesn't like you? Yeah, of course. And is there some like strategy to think about? Maybe. I don't know. It depends on your particular situation. But what I can tell you is that spending hours thinking about this, focusing on this, keeping the river dammed up so that those thoughts remain in front of you and just churn and churn and churn and stopping the natural process of letting those thoughts flow away, I have yet to see that help anybody. Yes, again, there are problems in real life that do need our mind power, but in something like this, it very often creates more problems than it actually solves. And so what I want to encourage you to do is pull out the dam. So when you realize, okay, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and I forgot the names I used, Steve and Sheila. I can't remember who else, but whatever. I'm sitting here thinking about these problems at work, and I'm not getting anywhere. There's nothing to do. It's just me kind of focusing on this stuff and rewriting stuff. I'm going to pull out the dam here. I'm going to let these thoughts move away. And the way that you do that is by moving on with your day. And this is incredibly simple, but it is incredibly powerful. Shift your focus. Maybe you're driving and it's hard. I get it. I drive a lot and I understand what it's like when thoughts get in our head when we are driving. But maybe you turn on a podcast or open up the windows or change something in your environment. Maybe you call someone to talk to someone about something else. What's really funny, and I would love it if you tried this out in your own life and then told me how it went, is that when you pull that dam out, when you shift your focus, yes, it is absolutely true that from time to time, these thoughts might come back. You might be thinking about Steve and Sheila again. But by and large, once you pull that dam, the river starts to flow again, and new thoughts take the place of those thoughts that were causing you problems. And maybe those thoughts are more hurtful, who knows, or they could absolutely be much better. But when we stop the flow of thought, we sit in the pain. If we pull the dam out, if we shift our focus, if we just let those thoughts come and go, if we recognize the fact that we're feeling the way we're feeling because of a thought we had, and we take a deep breath, by pulling out the dam, the river flows again, and before we know it, we're in a much better mood. And I understand that this sounds ridiculously simple. There's actually an author I really like. Her name's Mavis Carnes, and she says over and over, it really is that simple. And it really is that simple. So I want to encourage you to try this. I want to encourage you, if you're feeling bad, if you are hung up on something, if you are just experiencing thoughts that are causing you problems, pull out the dam. Let your thoughts continue to flow and see what happens. It's really incredible how much we can stand in our own way, how much we can feel an emotion because of a thought and then think there's a problem to solve and then put that dam in place and we try to solve the problem, but there's not actually anything to do. And then we just end up feeling more and more and more revved up and upset. And this is true, by the way, not just with problems with shitty Steve and Sheila. It's true with all types of things, right? It's true with anxiety. It's true with work stress. When we are not in the moment, Anytime a thought comes up and we dam up the river, we're just causing ourselves more and more and more stress. So do yourself a favor. And you can even picture this idea of just pulling the dam out. Let the river continue to flow, right? Let new thoughts come in to where those thoughts that were causing you pain were hanging out. And you will find, amazingly, that even though those thoughts of Steve and Sheila were painful, they disappeared. They go away and new thoughts take their place. And I'll leave you with one last idea. This is so powerful for me. It's made a huge, huge difference. One thing you can do is look upstream. Remember, this constant flow of thinking that's going through our heads, it's just flowing. If you find yourself stuck and you're having a hard time pulling out the dam, I want you to literally picture looking upstream, looking toward the source of that thinking. And again, we can talk about what that source is later. But open up to the reality that this river is continuing to flow. And if you place your focus upstream, you'll notice very quickly that there's new thought coming right in, that we don't have to suffer because we're thinking about Steve and Sheila, that we actually have the ability to see those thoughts and go, ow, that hurts, and then let them go. This can truly change everything. So I'd love for you to take a shot at it. Try it out. And when these thoughts come up for you, take a breath, shift your focus, and see what happens. Well, there you go. Tell me what you think. I'm actually really curious if this works for you. Head on over to scottpenier.com/podcast. You can send me an email there. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear, how does this work? Did it work well? Did it not work well? Am I out of my mind? Tell me about your experiences of pulling out the dam. That is it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I'll be back again next week.